Alrighty, so we're doing a putting video. We're gonna go ahead and grab a putter. We're gonna start with the legs, going up all the way to the fingertips. So, I want a nice stable base. I'm looking at you guys like a target. Right, stable base, knees bent, and the timing, in my opinion, to describe timing would be to let the disc carry you. So let's look at it from like a jump putt first. I'm jumping, going with the putting line and out. And I'm not going to release the disc. I'm going to let the disc carry me. Let it pull me to the basket. I'm letting it carry me. So same thing goes for putting. Letting it carry me, right? That's the time. You're going to start with a good, nice, solid base and go down to your legs. And you're going to just time it all right. The disc carries you. And then the most important thing is your fingers. So at the end of it, you don't want to flick your wrist because as you can see, it's kind of, oh crap. It's kind of easy to mess it up. So instead, you're popping your fingers, shaking hands with the basket, shaking hands. All right, so just a little pop. Nothing crazy. You're just popping your fingers. And it's always nice to find a good grip too. I mean, I keep my pointer finger under the rim. Just allows me to get a little bit more. I have bigger hands, so I have more of a deeper putter. This is a Firefly. It's a Nate Sexton Tour Series Firefly. But you're just popping your fingers. And really, it just comes down to that timing and making sure that your weight gets transferred. So I'm not going straight up and down. I'm going into the putt, right? But that's where the stable base comes into. If I go into the putt with a stable base, then it's a little bit easier. You don't want to push offward. So if I push off just my left, I go to the right. I push off with just my right, I go to the left. So you want to make sure you have even weight all the way through the putt. Should look something like this. This is about edge circle. So letting the disc carry you. Just one thing that helps me keep the basket in line, I draw a line from the top of that basket all the way down to me, all the way down to where my putting stroke's going to be. Because if I draw that line all the way down, that means my arm should never leave that line. From there, that's just your normal putting. What I like to recommend is if you're closer to the basket, you don't got to use this whole body motion to go to the basket. You just use that putting line in your arm. So like if I go up to about 20-ish feet or so, I'm just going to use my arms and less of my legs. And I still have everything I need to get there. Pace of putt. Your pace matters a lot. Because if you're trying to force the disc there, it's actually going to be more inconsistent rather than letting the disc carry you there. So if I go from outside the circle and I really got to get it there and I force it, it's really hard. It's really hard to keep yourself on line. So if I follow the putting line and I let the disc carry me to the basket, right, from a standstill or from a step, it's a lot easier. See what I mean? You're just on line. It's a little bit easier to get the putt there. When it comes to off stance or straddle putting or putting at a knee, you don't have this space. You don't have this space, right? You don't have this reach back that you can use. You're stuck to an up and down motion like this. So you kind of have to imagine the line. So if I putt normally here, I'm not going to really reach it without having to force the disc there. I want the disc to carry me there. So instead of using that hyzer release, I'm going to use this nice lofty release, kind of flat, maybe a little bit of anhyzer, just to carry me to the basket. See, I was a little high, but you see what I'm saying? I gave it that nice lofty release so it has the carry to get to the basket without me having to overwork myself to get there. Angle, but what if you're at a knee? Watch out, Scoob. Watch out, bud. Watch out. Watch out. Watch out. If you're on a knee, you're doing the same thing. You can't really use your legs in a putt. So instead of me forcing it or trying to find it, I'm gonna let the disc carry me there. I'm gonna find a good angle. I'm gonna find a good line. I'm gonna follow my putting stroke. Make sure you're balanced. Look, I have my knee. I have 3 points of contact. I have my foot, my knee, my other foot. So I have 3 points. It means I have a perfect little triangle to keep my weight centered over. If you keep your weight centered over this triangle, then it's just all the arm motion. See? That was all arm motion, edge circle, and I almost made it. You just got to give it the height. You got to give it that follow through. Let the disc carry you to the basket. Like I said, 3 points of contact. I'm making sure my weight's even. I'm over that center of mass, right, with this triangle that I got going on. I'm just gonna let the disc carry me there. Goes either side. This way is a little bit easier because you're opening up this left side of your body. You're opening up the left leg so you can reach back more and get a little bit more pop. So I'm probably gonna have a little bit more power. To get a good angle, get good angle control with your putting, is most people have a flat release or a hyzer. And the way I gauge my angle is actually my arm. I keep my wrist in the same place and I angle my arm. So if I have an anhyzer putt, I have my elbow facing down, my disc facing up. I have that bottom face plate facing this way so the disc carries itself. And then with a hyzer, same difference. Elbows facing up towards the air so that I come out with more of a hyzer. When it comes to putting anhyzer or hyzers, like here, if right there was a tree and I got to get around that tree right there, right where the basket's at, I'm going to find my line with the angle, find my line. And once you've been playing enough, it's kind of hard to explain. You kind of know the height to angle ratio. So I know that if I throw my putter like this, it's got to be pretty high for it to pan out. So if I throw with less angle, I know that it doesn't have to be as high for it to pan all the way out. So if I look at the basket and I find the angle I want to put it on, right, since it's not so far, I don't have to angle it as much. I just got to loft it in there. And what I like to do is, instead of staying in line with the putting with the basket now, I'm now carving a line like you would with a drive, imagining the line. So I like to do little pump fakes and imagine that line to the basket. Whoa, I got a little wind, kind of carried it. But like I said, you're gonna imagine it. See what I mean? Just imagining that line, using that arm angle, using the carry to the basket so it carries you there. Same thing goes for a hyzer putt. I'm gonna open myself up to the line. I'm gonna find the angle. I'm gonna imagine that line. And where this is kind of like higher and the basket's kind of close, I'm gonna give this more of a loft hyzer. I'm gonna give it the height that it needs, but I'm gonna make sure it doesn't have enough speed just to keep carrying. I'm gonna make sure that it gets to the speed, and then once it loses speed, it's just gonna die. Oh, that was bad. Let me get a couple more. Let's do a retake on the hyzer putt. Like I said, I'm gonna open myself up to the line. I'm gonna find my angle, right? Elbows facing towards the air, facing upwards. I'm just gonna imagine the line. a little bit higher. I also got this left to right cross. Got a wind coming this way, so I might have to give it a little bit more height. Oh, see, once it dies and it loses that speed, it just falls. Yeah, let's get into step putting. So if I'm gonna step putt, that line is edge circle. Let's step putt from here. So when I step putt, I let the disc carry me. So the disc comes first, and then the body after. The disc comes first and the body after. Right? So if I put that into practice and follow everything I was just saying about normal putting, you stay online and you get the power that you need. I don't normally step putt from here, but I'm showing you. Just keep the putter nice and flat. Follow your line. See? I pushed my body before I let my arm go. So I pushed off with my left foot, got off the angle, and when I came to release, I was over here instead of in line with the basket. So you let the putter carry you to the basket. And you're usually online. You're usually not. You're gonna miss some, you're gonna make some. You're just gonna learn. Realistically, you should be putting for an hour. If not an hour, it's always gonna get out for like 20 minutes. But if you're really serious about improving, putt for an hour. But putt with intuition until you find the groove. Putt with intuition until you find it. A little low. A little bit right. Perfect. A little high. See? I mean, if you just putt with intuition until you find the groove, then your putts will start falling more consistently. You'll start finding the small things that lead up to your bad putting. I'm not going to say necessarily bad putting. If you're putting poor and you practice a lot, that means you're not putting with intuition, you're just putting. You're not really putting to improve, you're just putting. If you want to putt to improve, you analyze your body, you analyze the putt, you analyze every little bit, because you're learning from each putt. Perfect. High right. High right. Ooh. Low left. See, I overcorrected. Went high right twice. I mean, I tried to make a correction, overcorrected to the left. Like I said, putt with intuition. Every putt you learn from. You're not going to make them all. You're going to miss a lot. You're going to make a lot. But you always learn from each putt, regardless if it's a make. Regardless if you made it low right, you need to readjust. You need to come up a little bit if you're a right-handed putter. If you're a left-handed putter, you come up and to the left. But yeah, confidence and routine. Find a routine. Get in the groove. Putt with intuition until you find the groove. Once you feel like you've got your putt together, you'll find the groove. You'll find the right tempo, the right feeling, the right timing, and it'll just all mush together into one beautiful putt.